back to your favorite childhood game. What did you play? What did you like? I loved to play soccer. I also loved to capture the flag. And I love these games because they were fun. Games are fun, and so they're great outside of the classroom, and they can be equally effective in the classroom. And games in the language classroom can be a great tool to practically apply the English language. So this chapter is covering games and songs. So let's get started. So first we're going to talk about some of the advantages of including games in your English class. First of all, they're going to capture the attention of a student. Because a game is fun and it's different than doing a fill-in-the-blank activity or reading a passage in a text and writing your response. So it's interactive and it's going to capture their attention. It's also going to lower the student's stress. Because it's fun and it's something different, the student is not going to be stressed. So it's going to make a very open learning environment. It's also going to make students learn without realizing that they're learning. So they're playing a game where they're having to speak all in English and perform in English, but because it's a game and it's fun, they're learning without learning. I like to think about it as when parents sneak vegetables into the food that they're feeding their children. So kids don't like to eat vegetables, but if they don't realize they're eating it, then it's fine. So that's kind of the way we can think about games. Games also build rapport with the students, with their fellow students, because they're having fun and playing. And it also builds rapport with the teacher. And then it also increases student proficiency. So it makes the student become a stronger, more fluid and fluent speaker. And this is by far the main goal of having a game. Now we'll cover some examples of games that you can play at every level. So beginning with beginners, we can play Guess Who. In this game, students are practicing asking and answering questions. So the teacher can cover how you build a question. And then the students are all given a picture of a famous person, and it is put on their head like this, so they can't see their own picture. And then the students must walk around and interact with other students and ask questions to figure out who they are. So for example, they might ask the question, "Am I alive?" And they would say, if you look at mine, yes, she is alive. Am I an actor? And they would say, yes, you are an actress. So then I know that I'm a female. Or am I tall? Yes, you're tall. So the student asks yes or no questions, and their classmates respond, and then they guess who they are. So this is a great game to get students interacting and also practicing the skill of asking questions. Another game we can play at the beginner level is Hangman. In this game, the teacher or another student comes to the board and they have a word in mind. And then the other students guess letters. And as they guess the letters, if it's the correct letter, then the person leading would write the letter. So for example, the word I'm going to use begins with a V. So when the class guesses V, then I write V. But if there was not a V in the word, let's say they said T, I would write T here on the board, and then I would draw a head. And as they continue to guess letters, they would write the letters here, and then if they were incorrect, then we would write the letter here and continue to hang the man. And so that's another game that you could do at the beginner level. All right, now for some examples of games at the intermediate level. A really fun one that also practices pronunciation is the use of tongue twisters. So we can say, for example, She saw shy sheep. She saw shy sheep. So the teacher would pronounce the tongue twister. The students would then say it back, and then the teacher could put the students in groups and have them practice saying it first accurately as possible, and then as quickly as possible. So it's fun and a game. Another one we can do that's a little bit more difficult is, which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? Which wristwatches are Swiss wristwatches? And again, you can do it as a group and then do it in smaller groups. Also with this, it's fun to have the students create their own tongue twisters and then play the game the same way. Another one that can be used is Jeopardy! So in this game, the teacher presents a topic and the student has to create a question. So for example, here we have the tango. So the student would say, what is a famous dance that originated in Argentina? So they're given the topic and then they have to create the question. You can also tie it back to different vocabulary used in grammar. So if we said noun, then the students would say, what is a person, place, thing, or idea? And a great game to play for the advanced level students is to practice a grammar topic. In this case, we're going to look at phrasal verbs. And so on one stack, here I have 3 cards, but you would have a greater number of those. And you have different phrasal verbs on one side. So here we have get over, call off, blow up, and then we have another stack of cards that has the meanings. So we have cancel, explode, and recover. And again, we would have a great number of these. And the students would play a game where they have to match the phrasal verb with the definition. So for example, we would have call off would mean to cancel. And so the game was called off because of the rain. So the students would match them up and then they would provide example sentences, putting to use the phrasal verb and practicing their language skills. Games are a great tool that can be used in the classroom. So be creative and have fun when choosing the game. If you start a game and it's not the right fit, then you can adjust it or you can move on to another one. And if you look in our course book on pages 290 through 299, there's some more examples of great games that you can try in the classroom for all levels. So have fun. So we discussed in the listening chapter about how important and valuable songs can be in the classroom. And now we're going to talk about using songs and song lyrics to really supplement your classes. So for example, if we take the lyrics of a song and we're going to look at Let It Be, the classic. So we're going to do it as a listening activity. And we're going to listen to the song. And we're going to do it to practice reading by following along in the lyrics. And then writing by filling in the blanks. So here we have some missing blanks. And then speaking by actually singing the song together as a group. So if we take this song example, so we're going to have, when I myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary to me, speaking of wisdom, let it So we would play the song and the students would fill in the blanks. So we would have find, comes, words, be. And then the class would sing the words together. And then music is great to use in classrooms as well because you can pick out the different parts and talk about vocabulary. You can explain what is wisdom. How would you describe wisdom? And then you can also tie it to cultural events and historical events as well. And it's like using games in classrooms. It's fun and it's a little bit less traditional. So the students are going to learn without realizing that they're learning. And when choosing songs to use in the classroom, make sure that you select material that's going to be interesting and relevant for the student and their level as well. So it's important to pick things that they're going to like, that's going to be interesting for them, the students. And also, if you look in your course book on pages 302 and 303, there's some excellent other examples of using songs in the classroom as a great learning tool, so check it out.